Germany are out of the World Cup, and the pressure on Julian Nagelsmann has exploded. After a painful penalty shootout defeat to Paraguay, the German boss was already facing huge criticism, from tactical decisions to team selection to the controversial moment that may have changed everything. But then came the interview. A tense exchange with ZDF reporter Lily Engels turned sharp, uncomfortable, and emotional as Nagelsmann snapped back after being pressed again and again about Germany's collapse. And with Jurgen Klopp standing nearby as a TV pundit, the question hanging over German football became impossible to ignore. Is Nagelsmann still the man to lead Germany forward? Germany's World Cup campaign ended in frustration, anger, and disbelief. The four-time world champions were dumped out by Paraguay after a dramatic round of 3-2 clash. And for a nation that expects to compete at the very top, the result was nothing short of a disaster. Nagelsmann, still only 38, came into the tournament carrying huge expectations. But after the defeat, his choices were immediately placed under the microscope. One of the biggest talking points was his decision to pick 40-year-old Manuel Neuer, a call that had already drawn criticism before the tournament. After Germany's exit, those questions only grew louder. But the moment that truly lit the fire was Germany's disallowed goal in extra time. Jonathan Tah thought he had scored with a header that could have changed everything. Germany believed they had found a decisive breakthrough. Instead, the referee blew the whistle, the goal was ruled out, and the anger began. Nagelsmann did not hide his feelings. Speaking after the match, he called the decision a scandal and a joke. He said he had no idea what the referee had seen, insisting it was not even close to a foul. But while the referee and VAR took much of the blame, Nagelsmann also had to explain why Germany had been so slow, so flat, and so vulnerable before that controversial moment ever arrived. That is where Lily Engels came in. The 9-year-old ZDF reporter was asking the questions many German supporters wanted answered. Why did Germany struggle so badly? Why was the build-up play so slow? Why did the team only find urgency late on? Nagelsmann began by admitting the problem. He said Germany's build-up play had been far too slow, taking too long to move the ball from one wing to the other. Eventually, he explained, the team switched to a more direct, forceful approach, putting sharper balls into the box. And to some extent, it worked. Germany did get an equalizer. Nagelsmann pointed out that at one stage, he had 6 or 7 players over 6'2" in on the pitch, and Germany had 11 or 12 corners. From one of those situations, they thought they had scored. But then came the whistle. For Nagelsmann, that decision was the turning point. He said the canceled goal was not just a scandal, it was an absolute scandal. Still, even he admitted Germany had not handled the game well enough beforehand. The problem was not only one referee's decision. Germany had failed to settle the match earlier, failed to control the rhythm, and failed to deal with Paraguay before the game reached its most chaotic stage. Then the interview grew tense. Engels pressed Nagelsmann again on the disallowed Tah header. He repeated his fury, saying he was watching it back and still could not understand the decision. But when she pushed further into why Germany had folded so early, his patience began to crack. Nagelsmann answered that, as he had already said, Germany's build-up play was simply too slow. The reporter continued with the inquest. And when the subject came up again, Nagelsmann snapped. Yes, I just told you, he said. The build-up play was too slow. I've already said that 3 times now. It was a moment that captured the entire mood around Germany. Frustration, pressure, disappointment, and a manager under serious strain. Nagelsmann had spent time with his deflated players after the defeat. Then he had to face the cameras, the questions, and the anger of a football nation trying to understand how another World Cup had gone so badly wrong. And the timing made everything even more uncomfortable. Former Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp was at pitchside working as a TV pundit, and his presence only fueled the conversation. For many fans, Klopp is the dream alternative, a charismatic leader, a Champions League winner, and one of the most respected German coaches in world football. So while Nagelsmann was defending himself, explaining tactics, and criticizing the officials, the wider debate was already moving beyond the Paraguay defeat. Would the DFB stick with him? Or would Germany decide that this World Cup exit was the end of the road? Nagelsmann, however, made it clear he was not planning to walk away. Asked about his future, he said he was available. If the DFB wanted him, he said he would lead Germany into Euro 2028. If not, they would have to tell him. Then came the line that summed up his position. I'm not someone who runs away. So Germany's World Cup is over. A controversial disallowed goal has left Nagelsmann furious. A tense interview has shown just how much pressure he is under, and the shadow of Jurgen Klopp now hangs over the national team debate. For Nagelsmann, the message is clear. He believes Germany were hurt by a huge refereeing decision, but he also knows his side were too slow, too labored, and not ruthless enough when it mattered. Now the decision sits with the DFB. Do they back a manager who says he is ready to fight on? Or do they decide that after another painful World Cup failure, Germany need a completely new direction? One thing is certain. This defeat will not disappear quickly. Because when Germany crash out of a World Cup, the questions do not stop at the final whistle. They only get louder.